It is a privilege for me to get to be here with you today and for each of us to get to be here. And the 140 people that we have on this Zoom meeting from across the state, elected officials at the local level from across the state, to say thank you. Thank you for your years of service. I want to give a little bit of background to some of the members on the call that you already know this, but just a little bit of a highlight, if I may. Governor Gary R. Herbert is the longest serving governor in the United States, is that right?
That's true.
That's true.
Call me the Dean of Government.
Yeah, well, I can tell you, you were an outstanding president of the National Governors Association. When I had the privilege of participating in that event last year, when it was held here in Salt Lake, I had several people approach me and say, you have the best governor. Oh, Gary's great. Oh, he's so great. And they didn't have to do that. They wanted to make sure that I knew.
Wife.
Yeah. No, although I love your wife.
You know, we're the only state that's ever hosted it twice under one governor's term. So that's never happened before.
What a privilege. It was on Pioneer Day, 2019.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it. I share that because I want people to know that your leadership has extended beyond our state and really has included the entire country. Governor Herbert was elected lieutenant governor in 2004 and became governor in 2009 and has since been reelected 3 times. It's amazing and impressive. Impressive.
It is kind of amazing.
It's impressive. One thing that I personally and the rest of us really do love about you is that you always refer to yourself as a local government guy. You're a local government guy. Came from serving on the Utah County Commission, right?
That's true.
And
14 years.
14 years. You served as chair of the commission.
Many times.
Several times.
And the Association of Governments and the regional governments too. So I've been involved since 1990.
You know, it's hard to take a look at the success that our state has experienced without seeing your fingerprints all over it. I mean, you really helped get us through the Great Recession. This global pandemic. Could you have ever even imagined some of these things that you've experienced?
No. No. I keep hoping I wake up.
Right.
2020.
Right. Well, maybe it's best that we don't know what kind of things are in the future,
That's
right?
probably true.
Right. Well, your leadership has helped the state grow to the strongest economy and the most diversified economy in the nation, which is helping us recover from this pandemic better than a lot of our neighbors and peers in other states. Thank you. We truly, truly appreciate that. We want to say thank you for the time that you've dedicated to representing yourself and your office with the Utah League of Cities and Towns. You've always made time to come and participate, to be at our local officials day, and to express your support of our organization, especially during some restructuring the last few years. And we hope you know how much it means to us to have your confidence and the good people who are working as local elected officials in this state.
We hope you'll accept something that we brought for you, Governor. I'll just tell you out front, you don't have to bring this with you to Spanish Fork to get inside City Hall or inside our rodeo. You're welcome to the rodeo for the rest of your obviously retired years. You and the First Lady.
Thank
so
you.
Please come down. You don't need to bring this, but we do appreciate so much your representation of local government, all 249 cities across the state. You've led by example, by hard work, by ethical leadership, and you and your staff have been nothing short of amazing for us to work with as local government, all the way from Spanish Fork to South Jordan and everywhere across the state. So thank you so much, Governor Herbert, for your service, and we appreciate the sacrifice of you and your family in that tenure.
Well, thank you. That'll fit right in my new keychain. I have to buy a car. I haven't owned a car for 16 years. And so this could be a change. I went out and looked at some cars over the weekend. I thought mine's going to take me a week just to learn where all the buttons and all the things are in the cars to do. So anyway, thank you for that key to the state, the cities of the state. I appreciate that's very nice. I thank you very much.
Well, we're here representing all 1,300 plus local elected officials to say thank you. We truly appreciate your service. And in behalf of the more than 3 million people across the state that we represent and that you represent, thank you.
Well, thank you. I'm a little bit speechless here to know what to say. But can I say a few things? Would that be okay to the group out there?
Yes.
I won't bore you with a long speech. I'll try to bore you with a short speech. But I do feel very humbled about this recognition. And I'm humbled because we all have worked together very hard, working together to make local government have its prominent role that it deserves. As I've said many times, local government is where the rubber meets the road. Most of the government services that we feel and have at our homes come from local governments, the cities or the counties. State has a role to play, but we empower you to do most of the work. You are where the rubber meets the road. So I appreciate the role that Utah League of Cities and Towns plays as an association to be the voice for local government. And I feel very hopeful about the future because of local government people like yourself, your mayors, your council people, the role you play and how well you do it. And so I appreciate that. I'll just mention this recognition. I'm happy to accept the recognition. I don't know that I deserve it. But then I have arthritis in my left knee, and I don't know that I deserve that either. But I'm smart enough to know how significantly important it is for all of us to work together. We call it teamwork. And some of you know I played sports when I was back in high school. I played quarterback on my Orem High School football team. And although that's an important role as quarterback, the success I had was dependent upon many other people. And mine was the simple thing of just throwing the ball to somebody or handing it off. But if I didn't have a line that blocked appropriately, I had no time to pass, and I'd be sacked. They didn't open up holes for the people I handed the ball off to, the running backs. They were not going to go anywhere. If I didn't have wide receivers that could catch the ball, maybe some of my errant throws made the catch anyway. The defensive team that keeps the other team off the field, and the coaches, the cheerleaders, the fans, all of you working together makes for a successful football team. So that's a poor analogy, but it is one that works, and that is that in our administration we've talked about team. TEAM, that's the acronym for team, and I do believe this is a principle that together, T, everyone, E, achieves A, more, M. Together, everyone achieves more, team. And that's a concept that I think that we in local government understand as well as anywhere in government. So thank you for the work you've done. I appreciate, I've got Mike Maurer here, who's been our liaison with local governments, and you all know Mike. I think he's going to continue on in this role to the next administration. So that'll make it the cohesiveness that we need to have and the transition smooth. Let me just mention a couple of things too. And I know this is true about our cities and our counties, and certainly our state. We're one of only 9 states in America, only one of 9 that have a AAA bond rating from the rating agencies on Wall Street. And you think about that for a little bit and you think, why? Why would not other states, other communities, localities say, we probably ought not to spend more money than we take in. We probably ought to have rational debt, not unreasonable, but we become debt heavy. We ought to probably have taxes that are competitive and allow the people and the businesses to keep more of their hard-earned money to reinvest in their people and in product. We ought to have regulation reform that when I get around the country, I can tell the most common complaint is not about the taxes, interestingly enough. It's about regulations that get in the way, particularly federal regulations. And as a state, when I came into office, as you all know, in 2009, we were at the depths of the Great Recession, the worst economic times in the history of our state since the Great Depression. Now, we could have done it like other states and said, well, let's raise taxes, let's cut services. And we didn't. We said, what we're going to do, in fact, is double down on the fact we're going to empower the private sector. We cut taxes. We have the lowest tax obligation today in Utah. We as citizens, we've had in Utah in 17 years, the lowest tax obligation. That's something we can all say, hey, isn't that great? We're managing the taxpayers' dollars as a sacred trust, and we're doing a pretty good job of it. We actually have increased efficiency in government. We have fewer state employees today we had back in 2002. And that's in the face of 800,000 more people calling Utah home in that same period of time. So we're doing more with less people. The government doesn't make anything. We just provide services and create regulations. So on balance, we have found that was a better formula than other states took. And that's why we went from the depths of the Great Recession to, as the mayor said, the healthiest, most diverse economy in America. I mean, that's quite remarkable. What does that produce? We see a lot of small businesses becoming large businesses. We've become the epicenter for many the epicenter of small business. You can't become a large business unless you're first a small business. You've got to have an incubator, which allows the entrepreneur to say, I'm going to risk my capital. I'm going to put my time. I'll work extra hours on the off chance I make a profit. That's a wonderful system called free market capitalism. And we've perfected that. And what that's done now, too, is not only we have this most diverse, healthy economy, at the 1st of March of this year, we had a record of 2.3% unemployment rate, the lowest in our state's history. The Ken Garner Institute said the best decade in Utah's history have been the last years until the pandemic hit. We're going to get through that. I'll mention that in closing. But it's been a remarkable run that we've had. And what we've done is lift more people out of poverty. We have the lowest poverty rate of about any state in America today now because of that. We have the largest middle class, broad middle class. You can talk to Forbes magazine, Bloomberg, Newsweek magazine, talking about the remarkable middle class, how large it is in the state of Utah. And we still have the American dream alive and well. Upward mobility is the best in Utah of any state in America. Mayor Bloomberg actually had me come back and talk. He said, I want to know why Utah's doing so great. We had a conversation about that, but they did an analysis of our state and said that if you're on the lowest rung of the ladder and you want to get to the highest rung of the ladder, your odds, they can calculate, and they did it in all the states, and Utah is number 1. The odds are about 1 in 10. You go from the lowest rung to the highest rung of the ladder. So your odds are pretty good to advance economically. If you apply yourself, there's opportunity. And that's something we ought to be very proud about and maintain. It's the largest middle class, upward mobility, people living the American dream. So that's what we've done because we just stayed true to the basics. Don't spend more than you take in, don't have irrational debt, make sure we have competitive tax rates, regulation reform, empower the private sector in a free market competitive system, and there's no limit to what we can accomplish. And by the way, that's why right now, in spite of the pandemic, we are projected to be the best state to come out of this economic downturn. We're already back down to 4.1% unemployment rate. The national average is about 8, so it's almost double what we are in Utah. We do know that there are some areas like hospitality. I feel bad for those areas. We've had some areas that have been hit harder because of this unique pandemic that we've had, which is I guess a 100-year event. Nobody in our lifetime's ever seen it before, but Spanish flu back in 1919, as close as you come to it. So again, we have the ability, because we've stayed true to those principles, which I know that the league's doing, to come out of this. I mean, you're on the front lines. The business is going to be in your backyards. The opportunity for people. We need to make sure they have educational opportunities, a good, strong labor force that's got the skills necessary to line up with the demands of the marketplace. If that happens and we continue to do that, 2021 is going to be the turnaround time. We've got the vaccines today. We were on the phone with the Vice President today. Everybody's excited. This is really kind of a red letter day. This is really the beginning of the end, is what they say. And I believe that's true, at least on the pandemic. But we're poised. By the way, we've done better than most states because we are prepared. We had a rainy day fund. We hadn't overextended ourselves. So when the calamity happened, and this happened to be the pandemic, we were ready. We were able to weather the storm. We don't need a lot of bailout like some of the states have done. So again, that's a tribute to the state, to our legislature, to you and local government, which are really, like I say, on the front lines where the rubber meets the road. So it's a collective effort. And what do we say? Team, together, everyone achieves more. So let's continue. Again, there'll be a new sheriff in town, so to speak, with the Spencer Cox coming on board. But I think you'll see a continuation of what we've been doing the last 10 years. The foundation we built, he's going to build upon and raise the bar even higher. I know you mayors and council people do the same thing. So again, the outlook for Utah is very bright, very good. I'm very optimistic. If I was your stockbroker and Utah was a stock, I would say buy, because it's going to go nothing but up. Thank you very much for the honor. It's very nice of you.
Thank you, Governor.